Chapter 21, Versailles Show-Off, University Beauty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Number 10010-10086, you are so arrogant. Number 89454, Dad, can you give me some water? Number 453643, damn, I am really jealous of 10,086's comfortable life. Number 894759, did you find that this wine seems to be Romani Conti? Among the many messages condemning Chen Dong, a survivor suddenly appeared and recognized the red wine in Chen Dong's photo. You know, Chen Dong himself couldn't recognize it, but it's normal, he doesn't know much about red wine. Number 10010, what is Romani Conti? Can you say something that others can understand? Number 894759, Romani Conti is the top French wine, very expensive. Number 345634, damn, how expensive can a bottle of wine be? Can it be as expensive as Matai? Number 894759, he. If you take Matai that is 30 or 50 years old, it is naturally much more expensive than Romani Conti, but if you compare it with Matai that is 10 or 8 years old, Romani Conti is enough for you to have several bottles. The chat channel was in an uproar. They didn't expect that the bottle of red wine that Chen Dong drank was such a precious top red wine. Chen Dong was also surprised, unexpectedly. The system would give him such a precious unlimited red wine, if it were in the present world. It could be said that his net worth would soar instantly, and he would have no problem with food and clothing for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, in the doomsday world, Romani Conti is just an ordinary wine. Here, no one will support this ridiculous red wine market. Chen Dong looked at the French on the red wine bottle and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It turns out it's not English. It seems that my English is not good enough. Number 345634, 10086, do you sell wine? I love wine. I haven't drunk it for so many days, but I'm dying of greed. If you are willing, the price is negotiable. Number 345654, good guy. Wine worth hundreds of thousands of yuan, high class. Zhou Shujian, who had met Chen Dong before, was also watching the chat channel at this time. He was holding a high-heeled glass in his hand, shaking some inferior red wine. Zhou Shujian enjoyed the upper-class enjoyment of drinking top-grade red wine. If it was in the past, Romani Conti was nothing new to him, but in this doomsday world, he can only drink a bottle of inferior red wine every day. Originally, he comforted himself that at least he could drink red wine, which was a rare enjoyment. I don't know how many people have to risk their lives every day to collect even the necessities of life, but when he saw the pictures sent by Chen Dong, he was broken. Zhou Shujian threw the glass away fiercely, and the red wine poured on the wall with a snap. Why? Why does this 10086 have so many supplies to buy the barrier wall? Why can he still drink Romani Conti in the doomsday world? Zhou Shujian was so proud that he couldn't bring himself to ask Chen Dong to sell wine. Thinking of this, he was even more angry. Number 10086, exchange supplies. Those who want wine or chicken feet are welcome. I just want combat supplies. Number 10010, it's so funny. Do you think it's the same as the quilt last time? It was because of the force majeure of the weather that I had to be cheated by you. Wine. Chicken feet. They are all some dispensable daily supplies. They are exchanged with combat supplies. Number 10086, so, poor people like you don't have to join in the fun. I want to sell to survivors who have abundant supplies and want to improve their quality of life. I'm sorry, you don't seem to belong to my sales group. Number 10010, 10,086 me. Number 10086, all asterisks, you can't even type. With your level, you should retake the 9-year compulsory education. Chen Dong gave full play to his subjective initiative and used the words he had used to fight with keyboard warriors online on number 10010. That's not all. Chen Dong also took a video and walked around in his villa. Finally, he even held the red wine and turned his neck down to the camera. Brothers, I'll drink this glass of wine, you guys can do whatever you want. After this video was uploaded, the chat channel exploded again. The legendary 10086 actually exposed his true identity. Many people thought that the legendary 10086 was the kind of middle-aged muscular uncle with a beard and silence. This fits their impression of the image of the survivor of the doomsday world, but I didn't expect that 10086 was actually a young man by listening to the voice, but on second thought, it makes sense. After all, 10086 is so venomous in the chat channel and plays memes at any time, so it is more likely that he is a young man. Chen Dong ignored the threats from other survivors in the chat channel, but was troubled by the large number of private chat conversations. Just now, many survivors secretly sent private chats. Some asked him to buy red wine, and some asked him to buy chicken feet, but they all thought it was too expensive and hoped it would be cheaper. Most of them are still some beggars. These people who ask for help send righteous words and ask Chen Dong to give them some supplies. This way, they can also accumulate merits for Chen Dong, and they will also pray for Chen Dong. Chen Dong basically ignores these people who ask for help. I'm in the doomsday world, and you're still telling me to accumulate merits? The most important thing is to think about how to survive, but there was a message that attracted Chen Dong's attention. Are you Chen Dong? I'm Tian Xiaoyu. Chen Dong naturally knew Tian Xiaoyu, and was even quite familiar with her. After all, this is a famous university campus belle, and her suitors can fill the entire cafeteria. I don't know how many boys dream of her, causing the dormitory toilet paper to be insufficient all year round. Chen Dong was able to talk to her for a few words and make a little joke. But he knew himself and didn't have any unrealistic ideas. After graduation, everyone went their separate ways and gradually lost contact. In the blink of an eye, 2 years have passed. Chen Dong had some memories. After recovering from his shock, he sent a message without denying his identity. Tian campus beauty is amazing, she can even guess me. Yes, I'm Chen Dong. This was the first time he met an acquaintance, and Chen Dong was a little dazed for a while. I was also a little curious. Why did Tian Xiaoyu, who I hadn't seen for 2 years, actually rely on a short video without showing her face to be sure that the person in the video was me? Tian Xiaohua, how did you recognize me? I didn't show my face. Could it be that you can see through me? I'm afraid that you have seen me so many times in 4 years of college. The chat box showed that Tian Xiaoyu was typing a message. Soon, Tian Xiaoyu sent a string of text. Of course I recognized your voice. Have you forgotten that when we were in college, I always said that your voice was nice? Chapter 22 Past Events. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is true. The only advantage Chen Dong can bring out is his voice. When he was in college, he was one of the top 10 singers. As soon as he arrived on campus, he won a large number of fans by participating in the campus singing competition for the first time. Chen Dong continued to send a message. Tian University campus beauty, how did you get selected into this doomsday game? How are you doing? Tian Xiaoyu replied, I'm doing okay now, I can barely eat, but there are not many supplies. By the way, guess who I met here? Chen Dong looked at this message and guessed in his heart, could it be that he met an old acquaintance from the past, and he was also playing a riddle with himself, so it should be a classmate or teacher from college. Who is it? There are so many classmates in our class, I can't guess it. I'm afraid I'll have to guess until dark if I guess one by one. Tian Xiaoyu sent a smiley face with her mouth covered, and then said, I won't tease you, I'll tell you directly. Do you still remember Zhang Zihao in our class? I'm teaming up with him now. Seeing these 3 words, Chen Dong's expression was a little unpleasant. He naturally remembered this rich second generation in his class. Zhang Zihao was a local of the university where Chen Dong was studying, and he was also a well-known rich boy. Moreover, he lived in the same dormitory with Chen Dong, which made Chen Dong see the life of rich people for the first time. He threw away luxury goods casually, and the female companions around him came one after another without duplication. Chen Dong's parents died early, and he was raised by his grandfather. After entering university, his grandfather passed away, and he had to rely on his part-time job and student loans to support his university living expenses and tuition. Fortunately, Chen Dong was smart and versatile, and he could make his university life quite comfortable with the money he earned from part-time jobs. The holiday between the two was also caused by money. Chen Dong still clearly remembers that it was a hot night in the second semester of his sophomore year. As usual, Chen Dong was the only one left in the dormitory reading a book, and everyone else followed Zhang Zihao to the largest local bar to dance. When Zhang Zihao and others came back laughing and talking, Chen Dong also smiled and exchanged a few words with everyone as usual. Then, he continued to read, but the night of this day was not peaceful. Zhang Zihao searched his bed and wardrobe, but couldn't find his watch. When he went out to dance at night, he wanted to wear his royal oak to hook up with some high-quality girls, but because of time constraints, he went out without looking carefully. So, when Zhang Zihao came back from the dance, he wanted to find it quickly for next time, but he found that he couldn't find it no matter how hard he looked. Strange. Why is my watch gone? Zhang Zihao cursed, and other roommates gathered around him. A roommate who was the closest to Zhang Zihao and could be called a dog said, "What's wrong? Young Master Zhang, your watch is gone. That watch must be worth at least hundreds of thousands, right?" Other roommates also talked at once. "Young Master Zhang, look for it again, you will definitely find it, it won't be stolen by someone." Suddenly, the dormitory was made a little quiet by this sentence. Zhang Zihao slowly raised his head and looked at Chen Dong, who was sitting at the desk not far away, frowning. "Chen Dong, you were the only one in the dormitory just now. Do you know where my watch went?" Chen Dong frowned when he heard this. "What does this mean? You can't find your watch, and it has something to do with me." Chen Dong put down his book and said calmly, "I have been in the dormitory, and no one else has come in. Look for it again. If you still can't find it in the dormitory, could it be that you lost it?" Zhang Zihao sneered and said word by word, "My watch has been in school. I wore it in class yesterday. You said no one came to the dormitory. I think you stole it." Chen Dong stood up from his chair, a little angry. "Zhang Zihao, what do you mean?" Zhang Zihao was not willing to be outdone by Chen Dong's questioning. "What do you mean?" "That's what I mean. I just suspect you stole my watch." "Why do you think I stole the watch? Is it because I'm alone in the dormitory?" Zhang Zihao also tore his face and cursed, "Everyone in our class knows that you are the poorest in our class. Can you bear to see such a good watch of mine?" Chen Dong was so angry that his lips trembled a little, and he couldn't believe it. So after being roommates for 2 years, you all look at me like this?" The other roommates were silent, as if to verify Chen Dong's guess. Chen Dong felt a little bitter. "I ordered a cup of milk tea today to reward myself for working hard all day, but my mouth was still bitter." Zhang Zihao saw that Chen Dong didn't speak, so he took advantage of the situation and continued to be aggressive. "Chen Dong, you want to prove your innocence? You can, you and your suitcase, just let us search." How could Chen Dong tolerate such humiliation, and he cursed directly. "Bullshit." The quarrel between the two attracted classmates from other dormitories, who all gathered at the door of their dormitory. "Mr. Zhang, Chen Dong is not such a person. Although his family is poor, he is still very self-disciplined." Other classmates echoed, "Yes, after 2 years of getting along, don't you roommates know Chen Dong better?" But Chen Dong's other roommates helped Zhang Zihao. "You don't understand. Just look through the luggage and search the body. If there's nothing, forget it. It's not a big deal." Chen Dong laughed. He felt very upset. Unexpectedly, the one who spoke up for him was a classmate from another dormitory, and the roommates who had lived together for 2 years actually sided with Zhang Zihao. Body search. Chen Dong thought that he was not afraid of his own shadow, and body search was an insult to his personality. He couldn't accept it. Chapter 23, Exchange of Materials, Preferential Prices. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that Chen Dong refused to give in, Zhang Zihao took out his cell phone and threatened. "Chen Dong, I'll give you one more chance, otherwise, I will call my dad and tell him. You can't even imagine how much power he has in our city. You are asked to stay in the bureau for 37 days. Do you believe it?" Chen Dong was extremely angry but smiled. "I'll say it again, I didn't steal your watch. You want to search my personal belongings. Sorry, I don't agree. If you are so powerful, let the people in charge of security search me. Okay, very good, Chen Dong. I'll call my dad right now. Zhang Zihao sneered and dialed the phone. Hey, Dad, my piece of royal oak was stolen, but he didn't search me. Please tell Uncle Wong from the security department and ask him to send some people over. Because it was released to the public, many people heard what Zhang Zihao's father said next. That royal oak. I was just about to tell you that the nanny found your watch on the sofa in the hall today. You forgot to put it on when you came back yesterday. Everything is missing. Zhang Zihao was startled for a moment, and then he said calmly with no expression on his face, "Oh, I understand, wait until I come back to get it tomorrow." Then he hung up the phone. He smiled and said to the other students outside the dormitory door, "It turned out to be a misunderstanding. Let's all leave and go to bed." At this time, Chen Dong spoke. Zhang Zihao, now that the misunderstanding has been resolved, should you say something to me? The smile on Zhang Zihao's face suddenly solidified. After a moment of silence, he walked up to Chen Dong, stretched out his right hand and patted Chen Dong's arm, and said with a smile, "I misunderstood you, Chen Dong." From beginning to end, he never said "I'm sorry," but acted like a superior to his subordinates. It was also the day after this incident that Chen Dong went through the procedures for sleeping out and moved out. This is the entanglement between two people. Even though it was almost 2 years since he graduated from college, Chen Dong was still angry when he recalled this unpleasant memory. He had no good impression of Zhang Zihao at all. He never expected that Zhang Zihao would also enter this apocalyptic world. He also met Tian Xiaoyu and formed a team. After thinking for a while, Chen Dong asked, "Well, you and Zhang Zihao are now together." "I mean, are you together?" Tian Xiaoyu soon sent a message, "That's not true, I don't like him. It's just that in such an environment, I have to find a helper. Zhang Zihao has been a classmate of the university for 4 years after all, so he can be trusted relatively." Chen Dong looked at the message sent by Tian Xiaoyu and felt inexplicably relieved. In 4 years of college, Tian Xiaoyu has never had a boyfriend. Zhang Zihao is no longer cheap now, which is good news. "By the way, you came to me suddenly, didn't you really want to recognize your relatives? You are an old classmate, so don't meet me." Tian Xiaoyu sent a message, "I really can't hide anything from you. Indeed, I am a little selfish. I want to buy some supplies from you. The price is negotiable. I will send you my supply list. Let's see what supplies we need to exchange for." Chen Dong had guessed early on that Tian Xiaoyu was most likely here for supplies. After all, almost everyone knew that he was never short of food and water. It was as if someone had given him an unlimited supply. If Tian Xiaoyu doesn't know what's right and asks for it directly, Chen Dong will definitely block her without saying anything. Since it was an exchange for supplies, there was no reason for him to refuse. "No problem, why don't you do the door-to-door business? Send me the supplies you want, and I will consider what supplies to exchange." Although he was a classmate, Chen Dong had no intention of letting himself suffer and sent him out for free. Tian Xiaoyu immediately sent a message, "Really? Thank you, Chen Dong. Actually, I don't want anything else, just water, food, and a quilt, so as not to freeze again next time it rains." Chen Dong agreed directly. "None of this is a problem. Just exchange it with me for some building materials such as wood, steel, and concrete." Compared with daily necessities, collecting construction materials is not so difficult, because in the ruined city, there are wood and stone everywhere. There are also many such materials in low-level supply boxes. As long as you are willing to collect it, you can generally get it. Now, many people have begun to collect these things on the trading platform and exchange them for daily necessities. Tian Xiaoyu seemed a little surprised, and the message he sent was full of confusion. "Chen Dong. These building materials are exchanged for your daily necessities. Isn't it a big loss for you?" Chen Dong replied, "I just have some architectural drawings. There is nothing to lose or lose. Everyone gets what they need." Tian Xiaoyu, "Thank you, Chen Dong." Chen Dong didn't say much, just opened the transaction window and completed the transaction with the other party. After completion, Tian Xiaoyu sent a message, "Received, happy cooperation." Chen Dong asked, can you send me your current coordinates? I'll see if it's far away. Chen Dong has always hated this piece of shit Zhang Zihao. There was no chance before, but now it is a God-given opportunity to deal with him sooner or later. Tian Xiaoyu didn't think much and shared the coordinates of his current location, almost 100 kilometers. This is a bit painful, Chen Dong sighed helplessly. Tian University campus beauty, I think some of my words are not appropriate, but I still want to advise you to be careful of Zhang Zihao. He is not a good person. At this stage, it is obviously unrealistic to break through the obstacles of the 100-kilometer zombies. Zhang Zihao can only be given a chance and let him live a few more days. However, what Chen Dong did not expect was that Tian Xiaoyu actually replied like this, I actually know, but compared with other people around him, Zhang Zihao is still honest. If Zhang Zihao is unreliable one day, I will find a way. This is a pleasant surprise. Chen Dong thought about it and mailed a crossbow and several Molotov cocktails. These weapons are for you. If Zhang Zihao is not honest, just kill him directly, don't hesitate. Tian Xiaoyu was speechless. However, she did not refuse. If Zhang Zihao can't help but be beastly one day, she will not let him get away even if she dies. Thank you then. Let's talk later, Zhang Zihao is urging. Chapter 24, Cursing After Eating, Gold Level Supply Box. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two ended their chat. Tian Xiaoyu closed the information window and subconsciously wanted to stroke her long flowing hair that she had cut off on the first day she came to this apocalyptic world, but she failed. She curled her hair only to the ends of her earlobes, her face full of joy. Zhang Zihao came over with an unhappy expression and asked, how is it? Is 10086 Chen Dong? Tian Xiaoyu suppressed her smile, nodded, took out a piece of bread and gave it to the other party. It's indeed Chen Dong. I also exchanged some daily necessities with him, which is enough for us to supply for a while. Zhang Zihao took the bread from Tian Xiaoyu's hand and started chewing it. In fact, they had not eaten for a day. If they had not met Chen Dong, they would probably have starved to death. After Zhang Zihao swallowed the bread, he said, you mean, Chen Dong wants us to exchange supplies with him? Huh, a bumpkin born into a poor family is a bumpkin. He will never change his habit of being greedy for petty gains. Just for this small profit. Cheating, cheapskate. If Chen Dong comes to me and asks for supplies, I will not only ask for no money, but I will also give them to him for free. Tian Xiaoyu couldn't stand Zhang Zihao's ridicule. You know, Zhang Zihao is eating Chen Dong's food now, typical of scolding one's mother when one is full. Tian Xiaoyu was not interested in continuing to listen to the other party's chatter. He stood up and said, you eat first, and I will go around to see if there are any lone zombies. After saying that, Tian Xiaoyu walked out of the stronghold. Zhang Zihao looked at Tian Xiaoyu's graceful back and couldn't help but lick his lips. But when he thought of Tian Xiaoyu and Chen Dong's sincere joy after finishing their chat just now, he became very angry. One day, Tian Xiaoyu, just wait for me. I will conquer you and let you taste what it's like to be a woman. Zhang Zihao took a big bite of the bread in his hand and made up his mind. As for why he didn't dare to take action now, it was entirely because Tian Xiaoyu had collected a military dagger before and he didn't dare to use it forcefully. If the fish dies and the net breaks, then the gain outweighs the loss. But what Zhang Zihao didn't know was that Chen Dong quietly gave Tian Xiaoyu a crossbow arrow and several Molotov cocktails. And Tian Xiaoyu also hit it well. Chen Dong naturally didn't know that Zhang Zihao would have such a big reaction after his deal with Tian Xiaoyu. On the other side, Chen Dong continued to browse the chat content of the chat channel, hoping to collect some useful information. Hard work pays off. Chen Dong saw a person sending a message. He had information about the gold level supply box, but needed to trade the supplies. Number 353345, I have a gold level supply box information in my hand. If anyone wants it, please message me privately with the price. The one with the highest price will get it. Be honest and don't lie. Number 343454, who knows if it's true? If you say it's true, you have to have evidence to prove it. Who wouldn't say empty words and then block someone after they've deceived them? This is the same routine of scammers from more than 10 years ago. Number 563434, that's right, why don't you post a picture or take others to see it, otherwise no one will dare to buy your information. Everyone was talking about it, although this piece of information has sparked heated debate, only a few are willing to believe it, seemingly unable to convince the public. The survivor number 353345 quickly posted another picture. The photo shows a large warehouse. Through the glass window, you can see golden yellow supply boxes placed in the middle. However, there are circles of zombies outside. Number 353345, how about it, do you believe it now? I just bought the coordinates in exchange for some supplies, picture attached. Number 32532, it's really a gold-level supply box. I wonder what good things can be found in a gold-level supply box. Number 787754, it's not too bad anyway. Just think about the barriers and walls that were auctioned before. The gold-level materials at this stage are simply artifacts. Number 75234, so what, do you have the supplies to buy information? Number 74567, it's time to watch the big guys compete again. I'm hungry and full, so I just want to be a freeloader. Chen Dong is naturally very interested in such materials. Moreover, he is one of the few survivors who can offer a high price. It was only at this time that he felt the arrogance of Wang Wanda, the richest man in China. 100 million, a small goal. Chen Dong directly privately chatted with number 353345, brother, is the information still there? Supplies are not a problem. Number 353345, well, I need a lot of supplies. Chen Dong raised his eyebrows, are you questioning my strength? Chen Dong continued to send a message. I said, supplies are not a problem. Number 353345, then I want 100 daily necessities. Water, rice, flour, and biscuits are all fine. The price of this information is indeed high. You know, this is just a piece of information. Knowing where the gold-level supply box is does not mean that it is definitely yours. In the past, the auction house was for the highest bidder to win, so it was not impossible to buy information and gamble until the end to make someone else's wedding dress. However, Chen Dong did not hesitate for too long. Okay. You send me the coordinates for 100 daily necessities. I will verify them tomorrow. If they are true, I will send you the supplies. These are 10 copies, which will be used as a deposit. Number 353345 opened the backpack blankly, looking at the 10 items of daily necessities sent by Chen Dong. I fell into deep thought. Is the price set a little too low? Perhaps because of this generosity, Chen Dong did not encounter many obstacles in obtaining the coordinates of the gold-level supply box. Survivor number 353345 quickly sent the coordinates of the gold-level supply box. Chen Dong took a rough look at the location. It's not very close to my villa, but it's not too far either. Chen Dong, received. When I verify the coordinates tomorrow and the information is correct, I will immediately pay you the subsequent reward. Number 353345, it's a pleasure to work with. Chen Dong needs to take a good rest and be in the best mental state to face unknown dangers. Besides, an unlimited material will be updated tomorrow, and he is looking forward to what he can draw tomorrow. Can you provide assistance? Chen Dong called Xia Anqi and told her about the matter. After Xia Anqi heard this, she thought for a while. Chen Dong, I think this coordinate is most likely a trap. There is no need to risk your life. If the picture that person sent is fake or in another location, it would be really easy for you to rush to the coordinate he gave you by yourself. Something happened. Chen Dong also nodded. In fact, he also envisioned it in this direction. In this dangerous world, one cannot think too well of others, but he still said, and Chi, what you and I want to say are pretty much the same. Regardless of whether these coordinates are true or false, there is a 99% chance that someone will be looking at me. However, the temptation of the gold-level supply box is too great. You also know the strategic significance of this material, it is worth taking the risk. Chapter 25, Mantis stalks cicada, catches it in the act. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Anqi frowned and said with some worry, but it's really too dangerous. I'm very worried about you. Chen Dong smiled and took Xia Anqi's hand, and said with relief, it's okay. If anything happens, I will retreat in time. Besides, in terms of combat power alone, I'm not afraid of anyone. Xia Anqi sighed. It's a pity that I can't help much. If there are sufficient combat supplies and medical supplies, I will go with you. Chen Dong said with a smile, you should stay at home well in the early stage, arrange the traps I gave you around, and practice the accuracy of your crossbows. When I collect enough combat materials outside, what do you want in the future? If you don't follow me out, I'll have to drag you along. Xia Anqi had no choice but to compromise. Okay, I'll stay at home and watch over you. After Chen Dong and Xia Anqi briefly planned their actions for tomorrow, they began to scan goods for a long time, buying as many combat-type materials as possible on the trading platform, including Molotov cocktails, crossbow arrows, iron spikes, etc. The next morning, Chen Dong got up early and clicked on the system's email. When I saw the email showing unlimited gasoline, I laughed so hard that I couldn't close my mouth. His biggest worry about not being able to keep up with the supply of combat supplies has now been solved. With gasoline, he is equivalent to having unlimited Molotov cocktails. Although compared with the readily available Molotov cocktails on the trading platform, burning gasoline may be a bit troublesome, but the advantage is more quantity. After Chen Dong's upgraded physical fitness, he could throw a gasoline barrel 20 or 30 meters away, throw it into a swarm of zombies and detonate it with one shot, making it inexhaustible. After Chen Dong received the gasoline, he became more confident in his next actions. If there really is a gold-level supply box, Chen Dong is confident that as long as he is given enough time, it will definitely not be as difficult as last time to defeat a group of zombies. Chen Dong did not hesitate and set off immediately. After saying goodbye to Xia Anqi, I found a bicycle outside and quickly headed to my destination. Chen Dong's physical fitness means that even if he runs for a whole day, as long as he has supplies, he will not feel tired at all. After riding a bicycle, it is even faster, and, this is a road car. To get to the coordinate point of the gold-level supply box, you can go straight along an abandoned road. Chen Dong can be said to be racing with abandon, not inferior to those professional bicycle racers in the past. Soon, he rode near the coordinates. Chen Dong gasped slightly, but quickly regained his breath. After taking his bicycle back into his backpack, Chen Dong took out his binoculars and looked at the warehouse he had seen in the photos before. There was indeed a faint golden glow inside, but the constant roar of zombies is frightening. It seems that the coordinate information provided by number 353345 is accurate. Chen Dong slowly walked towards the warehouse, preparing to take down the gold-level supply box in one go and then return home. But I don't know why. But I always feel like someone is following me behind. Chen Dong quickened his pace, crossed a large rock, and quickly rushed behind a big tree to hide his figure. Sure enough, just after hiding, he heard the sound of someone landing. After climbing over the rocks, Chen Dong took out a small mirror and saw the person following him through the reflection, a woman with delicate appearance and petite figure, but from the outside, she is what is commonly known as a cute girl. This is a favorite among Lolicon fans. It's a pity that Chen Dong is not interested in beauties with such a cutting edge figure. He still has a soft spot for Xia Anqi's hot beauty. Withdrawing his instinctive gaze as a man, Chen Dong looked at the other party calmly. He didn't know which force this woman belonged to, but she definitely wanted to be disadvantageous to him. Since you are unkind, then blame me for being unjust. When the woman wasn't paying attention, Chen Dong suddenly threw out 2 Molotov cocktails and smashed them into the woman's side. Suddenly, the Molotov cocktail exploded. The woman was forced back to the rocks and surrounded by fire. She wanted to return to the original path from the rocks behind her, but she found that Chen Dong had unknowingly arrived behind the rocks, poured a large amount of gasoline on them, and set the rocks on fire. Forced into the center of the ring of fire again, after Chen Dong trapped the opponent, he raised his crossbow and asked loudly, "Hey, who are you? Tell me honestly." The woman surrounded by the fire circle looked very ugly. She never expected that Chen Dong would actually sense that she was being followed and conduct an ambush quietly. Where exactly is the flaw exposed? When Chen Dong saw that she was silent, he shot an arrow. The woman was startled and said pitifully, 10086, I am 353,345. I was worried that you couldn't find the coordinates correctly, so I rushed over here. I wanted to make it clear to you, but it was all a misunderstanding. Chen Dong rolled his eyes and said impatiently, "Stop pretending, a flat-chested Lolita like you has no effect on me. Hurry up and tell the truth. I can spare your life, and I will do what I say." Number 353345 gritted his teeth in anger. She is obviously a cute beauty, but she has become what Chen Dong calls a flat-chested Lolita, but the crisis before her made such thoughts fleeting. Then he confessed honestly, "Then I will be lenient if I confess, but you must keep your promise and not hurt my life." Chen Dong didn't talk nonsense, but urged, "Hurry up, don't leave any ink marks." Number 353345 sighed secretly. "It seems that this 10086 is really unkind. You can't even try to gain trust through appearance. I have no choice but to tell the truth. My name is Bai Shui. You also know the number, 353345. I sold you the coordinates. I just wanted you to help me explore the path or lure away the zombies, so that I can reap the benefits." In fact, even without Bai Shui confessing, Chen Dong could be sure that Bai Shui was just using him to become the Oriole catching the Mantis. "Unfortunately, I met Chen Dong, who is rich in materials, is fully capable of making a comeback." However, what he didn't understand was why Bai Shui was so brave and dared to follow him alone. "Hey, Shirayuki, right? I see your status shows team formation. Where are your teammates?" Bai Shui raised her hands and put them on her head. When she heard the question, she said depressedly, "I wanted to keep it all to myself, so I didn't tell anyone in the team." Chen Dong tentatively believed this explanation. Then, he kept facing Bai Shui and slowly moved towards the warehouse. Seeing that Chen Dong wanted to leave, but she was still trapped in the ring of fire, Bai Shui hurriedly shouted, "Hey, 10086, I have said everything, should you let me out?" "Hey!" Chen Dong did not stop and said loudly, "I said I would spare your life, and I kept my promise, but I didn't kill you either. As for whether you can come out, it depends on your luck. It has nothing to do with me." Chapter 26 Great Harvest. Gasoline Generator. Car. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chen Dong finished speaking, he turned and ran away, leaving Bai Shui alone in the circle of fire. Bai Shui was so angry that she scratched her hair on the spot and shouted in the direction of Chen Dong, 10086, "You wait for me." Chen Dong naturally heard Bai Shui's voice, but he still ran to the warehouse with the gold-level supply box without looking back. Chen Dong was not interested in releasing a woman who wanted to harm him. Leaving her life to fate was already a great kindness. If it were someone else, they would probably be worried that Bai Shui might retaliate and kill her directly. However, although Chen Dong did not do it directly, but he did not think that Bai Shui could survive in such a circle of fire. As the fire spread, it was only a matter of time before she was burned to death. Chen Dong walked to the warehouse where the zombies gathered, looked at the situation inside, and frowned. This was a large flat warehouse with not much space for maneuvering. Chen Dong looked at the surrounding woods and made a decision in his heart. The zombies wandered inside and outside the huge warehouse. They gathered here aimlessly, instinctively wanting to stay next to the gold-level supply box. That is, this supply box has given them a full meal several times. This is not the first time that Bai Shui has sold intelligence. In other words, her intelligence is not exclusively provided to Chen Dong. Before Chen Dong, Bai Shui had contacted many survivors and groups. However, these people eventually became food in the stomachs of zombies. Bai Shui also took the opportunity to get the reward money and the supplies dropped by the survivors after their death. This time, Bai Shui thought that Chen Dong would also be in vain. If she lost her life, she could take the opportunity to lick the bag, but she didn't expect that walking by the river often would eventually get her shoes wet and fall into Chen Dong's trap. Bang! The zombies outside the warehouse were attracted by the sound in front of them, growling and moving closer to check. Then, a huge sound blew the zombies away. More zombies rushed out of the warehouse. This huge sound was the grenade thrown by Chen Dong to attract the attention of the zombies. Then, Chen Dong threw out 2 gasoline cans. When flying to the zombie group, the Molotov cocktail tied to the gasoline exploded due to the collision, igniting the gasoline cans and quickly forming a sea of fire. It's not that Chen Dong didn't want to use a gun to ignite the gasoline cans. but he was not very confident in his current shooting skills, so it was safer to tie the Molotov cocktails on it. Just when the zombies were attracted by the sea of fire, Chen Dong had quietly circled and ran in from the window behind the warehouse, even though most of them stayed outside the warehouse. There were still many zombies around the supply boxes. Chen Dong was just making a feint outside the warehouse. What he really wanted to do was to steal the supply boxes quietly. This was undoubtedly a move on the edge of a knife. If Chen Dong hadn't drawn gasoline today, this plan would not have been implemented. After Chen Dong entered the warehouse, the zombies inside immediately found him and rushed straight over. Chen Dong was not panicked at all. He took out a gasoline can and opened the lid. He ran with the gasoline can himself, letting the zombies chase him behind him. Chen Dong poured gasoline on the floor, one barrel after another. When the entire warehouse was soaked with gasoline, the zombies outside realized that there was still a living person in the warehouse. The zombies began to rush back. Seeing this, Chen Dong threw away the gasoline barrel, took out a machete, rushed back to the direction of the supply box, and chopped down a few zombies. Then, he touched the gold-level supply box with his hand. He didn't even have time to see what it was, and put the supply box directly into his backpack. Then, he immediately jumped out of the window. Just now, it seemed that because the supply box was taken away, the zombies became more manic and accelerated to catch up. Chen Dong looked at the zombies running towards him from behind and took out the Molotov cocktail. Chen Dong threw the Molotov cocktail into the warehouse. When the flames burst out, they ignited the gasoline on the ground, and the entire warehouse quickly became a huge furnace. This time, the gold-level supply box was in hand. Chen Dong left the warehouse quickly. Before he could run far, the warehouse suddenly exploded, setting off waves of heat. Looking at the rising experience bar, Chen Dong knew that this time he should have a chance to upgrade. Experience 1. Experience 1. Experience 1. Congratulations to the survivor for upgrading. Please keep up the good work. Level 5, 0/500. Strength 20. Agility 12. Stamina normal. The 5 points of value were all added to the direction of agility, which was his shortcoming. This was something Chen Dong had not expected. After the value was increased, Chen Dong even felt that his reaction was so fast that the mosquitoes around him could feel it instantly and slap it to death. This was not the end. The experience was still rising. Experience 1. Experience 1. Experience 1. Not bad. Chen Dong took back his personal information panel with satisfaction. Then, he took out the gold-level supply box that he had just obtained after going through life and death. He wanted to see what good things he could get. Chen Dong looked at the gold-level supply box, which was completely different from the bronze and silver-level supply boxes in appearance, stroked it gently, and muttered to himself, "You must give me a good thing. Let me use 3 minutes, no, 3 days of life to exchange for the Emperor of Europe, please." That when his hand touched the keyhole of the supply box, an opening icon appeared on the system interface. Click it. Chen Dong, who had opened many supply boxes, was still a little excited and nervous when he opened the gold-level supply box for the first time. The moment he opened it, Chen Dong closed his eyes and kept chanting, "Ship! Ship!" After about half a minute, Chen Dong slowly opened his eyes and clicked to receive the supplies in the supply box. Successfully opened the gold-level supply box. Obtained gasoline generator ×1. Obtained exquisite bread ×50. Obtained purified water ×99. Obtained a worn-out Jetta ×1. Chen Dong was stunned. He didn't expect that the gold-level supply box actually had a gasoline generator. What surprised him even more was that there was a car. Chen Dong took the car out of his backpack, opened the gas cap, and added gasoline. Then, he sat in the driver's seat and adjusted his sitting posture, touching the steering wheel with some joy. You know, he was a veteran driver at the beginning, and he worked as a black car driver for a long time during his part-time job in college. Now that he has a car, the regional barriers between the doomsday worlds do not seem to have any effect. Moreover, the noise made by the car is not very loud. As long as the road is unobstructed, even if it attracts the attention of some zombies, it can leave quickly. Compared with the convenience brought, the incidental danger can be completely ignored. Just as Chen Dong was immersed in the joy of owning a car, many zombies in the warehouse actually survived and were running over at this time. Chen Dong wanted to try the performance of this car, so he started the car directly. The engine started with a low sound, looking at the zombies not far away. Chen Dong slowly raised the car window and snorted coldly. "You are lucky this time. I am in a hurry to drive home, so I won't kill you." Chen Dong put down the handbrake and shifted gears in one go. Unexpectedly, the car shook violently and the engine died. Chen Dong cursed in the car, "Fuck, I haven't driven a manual transmission car for a long time," and the clutch was released too quickly. Chapter 27. You can take a shower now. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The car started again. When the zombies ran over and started to hit the car, Chen Dong stepped on the accelerator, shifted to the second gear directly, and sped away. The zombies were not to be outdone and continued to chase. Chen Dong returned along the road he had just come from. He began to find the familiar feeling of driving with a manual gear, skillfully shifted to the third gear, and stepped on the accelerator again. Just when he was about to shift to the fourth gear, he couldn't shift. Chen Dong had a toothache. It must be that the car was a bit old, causing the gears of the gearbox to wear and the gears to shift. Looking at the interior of the car, it is estimated that it is about 20 years old, but it's better than nothing. Step on the accelerator deeply, increase the speed, and the speed can still reach 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. Chen Dong drove the car through the fire circle that just surrounded Bai Shui, but he found that Bai Shui was gone. Looking at the side, there was an escape passage covered by soil. Unexpectedly, Bai Shui escaped in such a short time. This surprised Chen Dong. "You are lucky." Chen Dong took a look and then retracted his gaze, concentrating on driving. He drove the car onto the highway and accelerated the speed of the car entering the highway again. He left the zombies far behind and only left them roaring. Chen Dong was very satisfied with today's harvest. He only exchanged a few bottles of water and a few pieces of bread. For the coordinate information of the gold level supply box, there was no need to complete the subsequent transaction. Bai Shui used herself as bait. How could Chen Dong keep his promise and hand over the remaining supplies to the other party? This time, Bai Shui lost a lot, and the acquisition of the gold level supply box and even a gasoline generator was the most surprising thing for Chen Dong. Today, he just harvested unlimited gasoline, and then there was a gasoline generator. Chen Dong himself was a little flattered. He was simply the reincarnation of the European emperor. In this doomsday world, electricity is too important. In the wall of the barrier, electricity can be turned on to use monitoring, alarms, water heaters. With a car, Chen Dong quickly returned to the villa area. When he set out today, he ate 2 big steamed buns and rode for nearly 4 or 5 hours before he arrived at the coordinates of the gold supply box. This time, it took less than 2 hours to go back. When he arrived in front of the wall of the barrier, Chen Dong honked the horn. Softly, Xia Anqi in the villa was startled. She hurriedly ran to the balcony on the second floor, holding a crossbow, and was about to shoot if the situation was not right, until Chen Dong stretched his head out of the car window and waved. Xia Anqi happily ran downstairs and opened the door of the barrier wall. After closing the door, Chen Dong parked the car in the garage and did not take back the backpack immediately. At this time, Xia Anqi ran out and looked at the car in surprise. "Oh my God, Chen Dong, how did you get a car when you went out?" "Let me think, you got the gold level supply box and then drove it out, right?" Chen Dong laughed and pulled her to the side of the car. "How is it, do you like it?" "With this car, our travel will be much more convenient." KK nodded happily. "Of course I like it. With this car, it will be much more convenient to collect supplies. And, most importantly, I can go out with you to collect supplies. One of us will be responsible for driving, and the other will be responsible for hunting." Chen Dong directly gave 300 experience points. Looking at KK's personal panel, as expected, KK also got an upgrade. No, 9527. Level 4, 0/400, strength, 10. Agility, 15. Stamina, full. From the panel values, KK's physical fitness is already very good. Chen Dong also felt relieved to take her out to collect supplies. After all, it was not a good thing for KK to stay in the villa area and not get to practice with zombies. Chen Dong grabbed KK and covered her eyes. "Anqi, don't look at the car yet. I'll let you drive it from behind. Now, I'll show you a big treasure." Kathy K was also a little curious about Chen Dong's mysteriousness. What is so mysterious? You have to cover my eyes. Chen Dong covered Kay Tse's eyes with one hand, and took out a gasoline generator from his backpack with the other hand. Then, he released the hand covering Kay Tse's eyes. Look what this is. Chen Dong pointed at the gasoline generator and said with joy. However, Kay Tse was at a loss. What is this? Is it a lawn mower? Chen Dong smacked his lips. He originally wanted to give Kay Tse a surprise, but he didn't expect that Kay Tse didn't know the gasoline generator. Chen Dong ruffled Kay Tse's hair with some complaints, and then explained, "Hey, you little fool. This is a gasoline generator. We can use it when we have electricity in the future." Gasoline generator? Kay Tse exclaimed. She didn't care about her hair being ruffled by Chen Dong, and her eyes lit up directly. Chen Dong, does that mean we can use electric lights now? Chen Dong looked at the excited Xia Anqi and said lovingly, "Can't you be a little more ambitious and bold? What else can you do?" Xia Anqi fell into thought, biting her fingers, and could not think of any other uses. Suddenly, Xia Anqi had a flash of inspiration. "I know, we can install surveillance and alarms on the walls of the barrier." What Xia Anqi said is naturally what Chen Dong wants to do in the future. Installing surveillance and alarms on the walls of the barrier is a must. Chen Dong had discovered it long before. There are complete alarms and surveillance in this villa, it's just that there is no electricity and it can't be used normally. However, these are not the answers Chen Dong wants. Chen Dong stretched out his finger, flicked Xia Anqi's head lightly, and smiled and shook his head. "Miss Xia Anqi hasn't taken a bath for several days, don't you feel uncomfortable?" Xia Anqi heard about taking a bath and muttered, "It's uncomfortable, of course it's uncomfortable, the body is always sticky. Have you ever thought that after we have a gasoline generator, we can use the water heater to take a good bath?" Xia Anqi did not think about this aspect. After all, water is a very precious survival material in the doomsday world. "I don't even want to drink more, let alone take a bath." She had originally thought that she would have the opportunity to take a bath by the river or on rainy days. But she didn't expect that in this doomsday world, natural water resources are not drinkable and are harmful to the body. As for the rain, it was acid rain. This naturally made Karen Mok's idea go awry, so, after hearing what Chen Dong said, Karen Mok was a little helpless. You can generate electricity, but you also need water to take a bath. It's a waste to take a bath with precious water resources. Chen Dong took out several boxes of mineral water from his backpack and said, "We have enough water, so you don't have to worry about that. However, we can't waste it too much. We will take a bath every 3 days in the future." "Really?" Karen Mok hugged Chen Dong excitedly and kissed him on the face. "Chen Dong, you're the best." Then, Karen Mok hurried into the villa and ran into the bathroom with clothes to change. Chen Dong was a little amused. The gasoline generator hasn't been installed yet. Chapter 28. The villa is powered on, with no blind spots for surveillance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After getting the gasoline generator, Chen Dong naturally took it to the villa's power room and connected it to the power supply. As for this power room, Chen Dong came in for the first time, just after receiving this villa shelter, and took a quick look at the electricity meter. He didn't expect that he would use it one day, and so soon. Chen Dong took out the gasoline generator from his backpack and poured tons of gasoline into it. Under normal circumstances, a large generator like this is enough to be used for a long time. After all, now is different from the past. There are not many places that use electricity in the doomsday world. However, Chen Dong did not intend to save electricity. The gasoline generator uses gasoline, and what he lacks the least is gasoline. Chen Dong started the gasoline generator filled with fuel and connected the main power supply of the villa. Soon, with a drip, the lights of the whole villa lit up. Then, Chen Dong came to the roof again and poured mineral water into the reservoir continuously. This will be the storage water they will use for bathing later. It was also at the moment of power on that Chen Dong received a prompt from the system. "Dear survivors, your villa shelter has opened monitoring and alarm services. You can access monitoring and receive alarm information at any time through the information window." Chen Dong tried to take a look at the monitoring and found that the entire villa was a 360-degree surveillance camera without blind spots. After the sensor intelligently identifies strangers who break into private houses, it will also send an alarm directly to Chen Dong. ensure that Chen Dong is informed of the situation at the first time, in addition to the original prompts of the barrier wall. It is absolutely impossible for ordinary people to come and go without being known. It's so cool to take a bath. After Chen Dong finished all the trivial matters, he naturally had to take a comfortable bath. He soaked in the bathtub and let the hot water soothe his whole body. However, before he could completely relax, suddenly, ding ding. Warning, warning, someone tried to climb the wall, please deal with it in time. Chen Dong pulled off the hot towel covering his eyes and turned on the system to access the monitoring. The surveillance footage clearly showed that several survivors were looking around at the brightly lit wall of the barrier, and even wanted to climb up the wall. Chen Dong didn't expect that other survivors would arrive in this villa area so soon. Chen Dong issued a warning through the surveillance camera, "Don't sneak around my door. Leave immediately, otherwise don't blame me for being violent." That the survivors outside the wall were shocked. Unexpectedly, this villa actually had surveillance. They were discovered just as they wanted to climb up the wall to see what was going on inside. In the end, they were expelled by the owner of the villa. Several survivors left, but Chen Dong kept watching through the surveillance. Chen Dong had reason to suspect that the other party would have ulterior motives. Just like the previous Jiang Kai team, sure enough, the survivors whispered. After walking away, a fat man said, "Damn, other people can get electricity now. I also want to blow the air conditioner." A thin man next to the fat man said, "Why don't we just do it tonight?" The other survivors nodded constantly. "It works." The fat man suddenly thought of the alarm and was a little worried. "How do we solve the surveillance?" The other survivors didn't take it seriously at all. "It's okay. There are blind spots in the surveillance. I think the big trees behind the villa should not be visible. We climb in from there, sneak in and kill the people inside. Hee, isn't the villa ours?" These survivors fled from the north. They didn't plan to enter this villa area, but they were driven all the way here by zombies by chance. There are zombies everywhere, and it is slightly safer to run to the villa area. After all, since Jiang Kai and others cleaned up the zombies, this place can be regarded as a safe area. After entering the villa area, these survivors were attracted by the villa where Chen Dong and others lived. You know, it is so weird and shocking to suddenly see a villa with bright lights. This is the doomsday world. So, they were curious and approached to observe. Although they were soon expelled by the owner of the villa, they still had ideas about this villa. Their group was a gang of thieves in the real world. After arriving in this doomsday world inexplicably, they did not separate but gathered together directly. Unfortunately, they were unlucky and could not collect supplies. Until now, the team could not even have one knife per person. Seeing such a luxurious villa, which even had electricity, was really a challenge to their bottom line of patience. It can be said that if they did not do this business, they would be too sorry for their boss who was still squatting in the cell. Steal. Must steal. And also steal money and kill people. When it was night, Chen Dong and his team turned off the lights to rest. This gang of thieves quietly came to the blind spot of the villa mentioned earlier. However, they made a fatal mistake just like Jiang Kai's team. That is, they underestimated Chen Dong's control over the villa. Chen Dong discovered the abnormality at the first time. Looking at these survivors putting knives on their waists, they knew that they wanted to steal money and kill people. Chen Dong took out a P92 pistol, loaded it with bullets one by one, and said coldly, "Since your motives are not pure, I can take action with peace of mind." These survivors didn't know what was waiting for them. Chen Dong woke up Xianqi, and the two sat quietly in the hall, watching the thieves climb over the barrier wall without saying a word. The alarm didn't sound. That was because Chen Dong turned it off in advance. He wanted to see how these thieves were going to get in. The door of the villa made a sound, and a minute later, the door was opened. It must be said that this thief gang did have some tricks, and they easily opened the door lock of Chen Dong's villa. When they entered the villa, Chen Dong suddenly turned on the lights in the living room. The sudden glaring light scared the thieves, but then they found that there were only Chen Dong and Xianqi. They stopped their subconscious steps of turning around and running away, looked at each other, and actually walked towards Chen Dong and Xianqi. It seemed that they felt that they were in large numbers and there was no need to be afraid. One of the thieves was so bold that he said to his partner, "Let's play with this woman later." The fat thief held a knife and shrugged. "With your perverted method, don't kill anyone. The thin man standing next to the fat man found that Chen Dong's face was getting darker and darker. Then, he saw Chen Dong pulled out a P92 pistol. Before he could say a word of caution, the thin man was shot in the forehead. The fat man shuddered all over and was frightened by the P92 pistol in Chen Dong's hand. Then, he was also shot by Chen Dong. After these days of practice, Chen Dong's shooting skills improved rapidly. Especially at such a close distance, even if it is a moving object. It is very sure to hit the target. Soon, the opponent was left with only the last thief, who was the first to speak rudely to Xianqi. Chapter 29 Let Kay Tse See Blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The last thief was so scared that he knelt on the ground. He didn't expect that the two-level reversal would come so quickly. From the moment Chen Dong took out the P92 pistol to now, it was only 1 or 2 minutes, and all his companions fell in a pool of blood. The thief kowtowed and begged for mercy. He didn't think it was wrong to lose some dignity when facing death. He even wanted to knock his head and bleed to show his sincerity. However, Chen Dong ignored him and shot him directly in the thigh. After ensuring that he couldn't escape, he handed the P92 pistol to Xianqi. Xianqi understood what Chen Dong meant. This meant that he had to do it himself and see blood. In the doomsday, you must be a little ruthless to live longer. Chen Dong frowned and said, "Enji, don't pity them. You see, they are all carrying weapons. It's obvious that they want to kill for money. Kill such people. There's nothing to hesitate. Think about what they said just now. If I wasn't by your side, what do you think the consequences would be?" Xianqi naturally knew, if it weren't for Chen Dong, what awaited her tonight would be something more painful than death. She took a deep breath and slowly raised her pistol. But understanding is one thing, but if it really comes to the point, it's still a little hard to do. After all, this is a life. Except for those perverts, no one can remain calm. Chen Dong sighed secretly. It seems that he still needs to give a push to help Xianqi overcome this psychological barrier. Only by overcoming this psychological barrier can she truly have a foothold in the doomsday world. Chen Dong stood behind Xianqi, held her slightly trembling hands, and pointed at the surviving thief. Broad arms bring a strong sense of security. Chen Dong whispered in Xianqi's ear, "Don't be afraid, I'm always here." The thief kneeling on the ground looked at the black muzzle pointed at him with a look of despair in his eyes. The strong will to survive made him endure the severe pain, dragging his thigh that was shot through, limping towards the gate of the villa, wanting to leave. Chen Dong pressed down Xianqi's finger on the trigger. Bang! The gunshot sounded after being silenced, hitting the back of the thief's head. The huge impact force directly blew up the thief's head, and the brain splashed with the sound of blood flowing. Xianqi dropped the pistol and ran to the bathroom on the first floor of the villa, vomiting continuously. In fact, Chen Dong was also a little disgusted. Although it was not the first time to kill someone, it was the first time to see such a real and bloody picture. He was a little worried that Xianqi would have a psychological shadow. After a while, Xianqi walked out of the bathroom with a pale face. Chen Dong walked up to support her with concern. Just when Xianqi wanted to speak, she saw the headless body lying in the villa again, and turned around and rushed into the bathroom again. Chen Dong had no choice but to clean up the villa first and send Xianqi back to the room to rest. As for whether Xianqi could cross the psychological threshold, it all depended on her. Chen Dong could feel that Xianqi had changed on this day. I don't know how she overcame her psychological barriers, but after that, Chen Dong tried to take Xianqi to the zombie area to search for supplies. Facing the zombies, Xianqi was no longer as flustered as at the beginning, but calmly raised the crossbow and shot the zombies. Whoosh! 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 The zombie in front of Xianqi was shot by the crossbow and fell to the ground. Okay, Enchi, you have been shooting more and more accurately in recent days. After Chen Dong solved the zombies on the side, he smiled and praised. Xianqi smiled. She was also very happy that she was not a burden to Chen Dong. Because I have been practicing hard, okay. This is the third day that the two have teamed up to collect supplies. They have been accumulating experience, and their physical fitness is already very strong. Even Xianqi can run for more than 10 kilometers with a load without changing her face, which is no less than the physical strength of the special forces in the army. After dealing with the group of thieves who invaded the villa, they changed their original plan. As the level and supplies of the survivors increased, the whole city began to connect. Other survivors began to arrive in the villa area where Chen Dong and his team were. Some survivors were afraid and stayed in other villas next to them. There were also some blind survivors, like Jiang Kai and the thieves in front, who had ulterior motives, but in the end, they were all shot and hung on the public flowerbed in the villa area by Chen Dong to serve as a warning to others. Since then, the survivors who settled in the villa area have known Chen Dong's strength and dared not act rashly. However, considering that more and more survivors, some strong survivor groups may come in the future, if they don't prepare for the rainy day, don't upgrade their levels and collect supplies, when that day comes, it will be unlikely for Chen Dong and his team to defend the villa with only a P92 pistol and unlimited gasoline. You can't just pour gasoline on the wall to trap yourself, right? In that case, you don't need others to do it. You will be burned to death. In the doomsday world where supplies are scarce, their shelter is still in the most obvious villa area, which makes them unable to become the squirrel party who hoards food for self-protection. Therefore, Chen Dong and Xia Anqi chose to drive to a relatively far zombie group and start searching for supplies and upgrading their levels. During the upgrade process, Chen Dong found that after upgrading to level 5, the improvement of physical values seemed to have decreased a lot. In the past, it could be improved by upgrading one level, but it is also true that if they upgrade as before, when they reach level 10, their physical fitness may be able to fight zombies and tear them apart with their hands. Unknowingly, the two have upgraded several levels, and Chen Dong is just a step away from level 10. According to the system introduction, survivors will have physical enhancement and be reborn when they reach level 10. Chen Dong is looking forward to it. At this time, he has reached the physical fitness of a special forces soldier. If there is another physical enhancement, wouldn't it be the physical fitness of the peak of human beings? Chen Dong plans to upgrade to level 10 today to see how much it will improve him. I hope he won't be disappointed, because they are located at a zombie gathering point far away from the villa area. There are enough zombies at the coordinates where Chen Dong and his team are located to provide them with experience. If it was Chen Dong who didn't have unlimited gasoline before, he would definitely run away without looking back when he encountered so many zombies, but now that he has a car and gasoline to make Molotov cocktails, Chen Dong just wants to say, bring more. While sitting in the car to replenish his energy, Chen Dong told Xia Anqi that he planned to reach level 10 today. Anqi, I'm at level 9 now. I plan to make a concerted effort today and reach level 10 to see if there are any changes in my body. Chapter 30 Set Fire to Zombies and Level Up 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Anqi wiped the biscuit crumbs from her mouth and nodded repeatedly. Great. This is great. Besides, it's not easy for us to get out here. We have to drive for more than 2 hours. We can take this opportunity to accumulate more experience and upgrade. Chen Dong nodded, and while reloading the pistol, he said, that's it, you will drive later, and I will be responsible for killing zombies. Xia Anqi hummed, and then asked, do you have any battle plan? Chen Dong thought for a while, and then said, this is what I plan. You see the grass in front, right? We will pour gasoline on the grass first, and then drive to the zombies. I will shoot to attract them, lead them over, and then set fire to them, and roast them alive. And you see, after the grass is ignited, we can quickly drive to the earth slope on the left, and the range is enough for us to complete the harvest. Xia Anqi applauded after hearing this. Good idea. Chen Dong, you are so smart. Chen Dong touched his chin a little embarrassedly. He found that Xia Anqi was now completely obedient to him and praised him for everything he did. It made him a little embarrassed. Such tactics are completely based on the fact that zombies have no intelligence and can only chase instinctively. If zombies have intelligence, such tactics will never work. Chen Dong suddenly thought, will there be zombies with intelligence in the future? Otherwise, the strength of the survivors will increase rapidly, and such zombies like Walking Dead will gradually not pose too much threat. Chen Dong has seen many similar zombie movies before. Generally, there will always be some mutant zombies or high-level zombies in the later part. However, these things are not Chen Dong's turn to worry about now. First, reach the 10th level and get a physical enhancement from the system. This is the most important thing. As for whether there will be mutant zombies or high-level zombies in the future, Chen Dong is confident that he can live well by then. Chen Dong and Xia and she got out of the car together and poured gasoline on the grass. The two worked very efficiently, and the whole grass immediately reflected a shiny luster under the sun. After pouring gasoline, Xia and she drove and rushed directly towards the zombie group. Approaching the zombie group, Chen Dong, who was standing on the roof of the car, half crouched and started shooting. If there were any fish that slipped through the net, he took out the crossbow and made up for it. Suddenly, a large number of zombies began to run over. After attracting the attention of the zombies, Chen Dong shouted to Xia Anqi in the driving seat, "Turn, follow the route just planned. Drive slowly, and be sure to run over with the zombies hanging." Xia Anqi did as he was told. Chen Dong would shoot and harass the zombies at first, but when he got close to the gasoline trap that had been arranged, he directly took back the pistol and lit the torch in his hand. When their car drove over the gasoline grass, the zombies also walked into the trap. Chen Dong threw the torch into the grass. Whoosh! The fire started rapidly, igniting many zombies in an instant and trapping them in the grass. At this time, the two came to the earth slope mentioned before. Looking at the raging fire on the grass, Chen Dong was still not satisfied. "The fire is still too small, we have to add more fire to our dear zombie brothers." Chen Dong took out the gasoline barrel from his backpack and threw it directly into the grass. With his strong physical fitness, with more fuel to help the combustion, the whole grassland burned violently. It even affected the forest next to it. Chen Dong heard that there were many zombies roaring in the forest. The sustainable combustion of gasoline caused great harm to zombies. Such a simple and crude method is much faster than using pistols and crossbows to make up for the knife on the earth slope. As for the warnings such as setting fire to the mountain and being imprisoned for life, they will not work in the doomsday world. Chen Dong didn't care about protecting the environment, just surviving. After watching for a while, Chen Dong pulled Xia Anqi back to the car. Standing on the slope, you can sweat profusely from the heat waves generated by the burning flames. Turn on the air conditioner and continue driving away, heading to the next zombie gathering point. Because the fire in this area is too big, it has attracted the attention of nearby survivors. They discussed it on the chat channel, but they couldn't figure out what was going on. Number 984594, fuck, I'll send you a picture. Look, how did the forest over there catch fire? Was it set on fire? Or did it spontaneously combust? Attached is a photo of a burning forest in the distance. Number 893743, if you set fire to the mountain, you will be in jail for life. In this weather, it shouldn't spontaneously combust, right? The acid rain lasted for a whole day a few days ago, how could it spontaneously combust? It must be arson. Number 943853, no one went to put out the fire. Trees are also living things. Number 947254, this doomsday world, you told me to put out fires and rescue people. Not to mention there is no water, who would be so desperate? Do you think it's easy to be a firefighter? Number 234323, oh my god. Such a dazzling Buddha light, the living Buddha is alive. Since you think the trees need to be rescued, then you go to put out the fire and rescue people. Number 654554, the living Buddha really appeared. Number 984594, send out the coordinates, let this living Buddha go to save all living beings. Many survivors are speechless about this kind of cerebral palsy. In this world, they still want to put out fires and rescue people. How did the other party survive until now? Fortunately, Chen Dong was busy driving and had no time to check the chat channel, otherwise, he would have definitely exposed that he was the one who set the fire. Let's see how the survivor number 984594 confronted him. Chen Dong drove while listening to the system's prompts. The experience value jumped up, getting closer and closer to level 10. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. As he was about to upgrade, Chen Dong didn't see the experience bar rising. Obviously, the fire killed all the zombies in the forest and no longer provided experience. Chen Dong was speechless. At this time, a zombie appeared not far from the front of the car. Chen Dong was stunned and rushed over with a foot on the accelerator. With a bang, the zombie floated in the air and flew out a beautiful arc. Experience gained 1. Congratulations to the survivor for upgrading. Please keep up the good work. After knocking the zombie away, he successfully upgraded to level 10, in an instant. Chen Dong felt that his physical fitness improved rapidly. It was not a leap in strength and agility, but an indescribable feeling. Chen Dong always felt that he could jump directly from the second floor and still be unscathed. Xia Anqi, who was sitting in the co-pilot's seat, felt the changes in Chen Dong. After taking a look, she said in surprise, "Chen Dong, you have upgraded? That's great." "Yes, upgraded. Let's go home now, and after we go back, we will slowly study what changes this upgrade has made." Chen Dong stepped on the accelerator, the car speed increased, and the engine roared restlessly. Since they have already upgraded, they don't plan to continue to the next zombie gathering point. After all, they have been out searching for supplies and hunting zombies for 2 or 3 days, and they should rest well.